Okay, so we're going to talk about Redfin today. And the reason why we're going to talk about Redfin is because they're new to our market. They just came into the Tampa market officially this year and have made a big impact. So my goal today is kind of show you what they're doing, why they're doing it, and what you need to do to respond. But I would love any input from anyone that's on the call that wants to participate in any way with questions or share like a run-in you've had, be it a property you were trying to show or they were trying to show yours. Because the more we learn and share, the more empowered we are to respond in a positive way to change. So before we dive into this, I've got this beautiful visual aid I made for you to kind of explain what the heck's going on in real estate right now. And really the truth is that with change in every industry that we've seen just think about how you guys watch television. I don't know about you, but I watch television different than I used to. I used to pay an arm and a leg for cable. I would pay, I don't know, it's a couple $100s a month that I think we're paying. And I barely ever watched any of the shows. Anyone else relate? I think Charter got like a half of a mortgage payment every year with just shows and channels and nothing that I really watched. And then, I started watching more Netflix and more Amazon Prime. Now I've got my brother's login for Hulu. I haven't really tried it, but I've heard a lot of people Hulu. The thing is, I can actually now pick the shows I want to watch and only watch and pay for the things I do. Who can agree with me? Anyone out there that's like hating cable and hating that cable bill? Well, I'm guessing most of you. And the truth is this, is just like artificial intelligence and big data and technology has really kind of taken over the cable industry, so has that same technology taken over the way we shop, the way we order car services, the way the consumer really wants to work real estate. So this beautiful visual aid is my attempt at trying to explain to you kind of really what's going on. And we need to take a step back before we jump into Redfin. So for the last 24 years, there have been some very similar names in real estate from all the Realogy companies, which are Coldwell Banker, Century 21, ERA, Sotheby's, Better Homes and Gardens, Remax, the traditional brokerages. And now we have the new disruptors. So who are the new disruptors? Who comes to mind, you guys? Anyone? Bueller? Is anyone going to unmute themselves, or am I just going to talk to myself here? Okay, well, I'll go through them. You got all the iBuys, right? Marianne, what are you going to say?
Yeah, I'm trying to unmute myself. I was going to say Open Door and Redfin, of course, and the iBuys, all the iBuys.
Yeah.
OfferPad, that's the other one.
OfferPad. So here are the top three for iBuy. And iBuy stands for instant buy, meaning they're going to give you an instant offer, okay? And you don't necessarily have to go to them to get an offer. They're getting so aggressive that they're actually cold calling neighborhoods and giving offers over the telephone and mailing offers and postcarding offers and all that. So it's an instant offer. You leave whatever day you want, and this is what will buy your house for cash. So we got the iBuys, which are Open Door, OfferPad, and Zillow offers are the big three. You've got Perch, and you had Purple Bricks. There's a whole bunch of them. Nest, Knock, the whole thing. There's a whole bunch of different ones, but the big three they call Zoo. Zillow, Offers, Open Door, and OfferPad. So those are your iBuyers. You've got Redfin, which we're going to talk about, which is a company that really believes that in the commissions shouldn't be 5, 6, 7, 8%, that they should be as low as 1 or 1.5%. And they feel that if they give up the commission, they'll just get more of the volume, and we don't do a good job, so we shouldn't be paid that much. That's basically what they think. And then you've got Zillow actually becoming a full-blown brokerage, not just with the iBuy option, but actually having employees like Redfin. They both have employees. And then you have Amazon. Amazon's really kind of interesting. They've partnered with Realogy, which is again Coldwell Banker, etc. And then you've got all the mortgage companies. I don't know about you, but I've saw like in the last week a couple different advertisements for even local credit unions. I think it was Suncoast Credit Union saying, don't use your realtor. We have an in-house realtor and we'll save you money. And you've got Quicken Loan, Rocket Mortgage, you've got RP Funding. You guys can think of all these different players that are trying to get into our game that weren't in the game, like say 2 years ago. So iBuy started in 2016 in Phoenix and has evolved and is definitely in our market. But those are, we're going to call them the disruptors. Now, when I went to see Gary Keller a couple weeks ago, he made it real clear of why are we having this disruption? Like, why? What's creating this? And the advent of this new tech and kind of the change of how the consumer wants things to happen with all industries has created an environment where the new consumers expecting real estate 2.0. Just like, you know, we used to have to call travel agents and book a trip, and it was like rocket science to get a trip booked. You can now go to Expedia and basically plan everything in one spot. You can get all the costs of all the different travel sites on Kayak alone. So, you know, the consumer now demands that kind of new experience. So this is what the experience all entails. And the truth is these disruptors have different ways of getting in to real estate, but all of these different aspects need to add up for real estate 2.0 to really be delivered to the consumer. One is Search 2.0, which is provided on an app in a browser where there's no login, they don't have to give up their information, there's no boundaries to their search, they can search all real estate worldwide, be it from VRBO to rental to commercial to leasing to ownership and everything in between. And they want a search to close experience through one app, one simple process where they get all their communication, all their documents, the whole process. In addition to that, they want instant options, and that's like the iBuy that we talked about. They want discounts, mortgage, title, inspection, discounts on anything they possibly can. And they want, after the closing, they want post-close home services, meaning that if I work with you, Marianne, and when we were buying the house, we found that, you know, the garbage disposal was about to go and the dishwasher needed to be upgraded and I wanted to get this flooring done and X, Y, and Z, I could go through you, through your sphere of influence, and easily line all that up with discounts and a phenomenal customer service experience. So this is Real Estate Search 2.0. What everybody is in the middle of right now is a race. So from Coldwell Banker to Keller Williams, from Quicken Loans to iBuy, we are all racing to provide the consumer this new experience. And depending on how they're coming in, be it the iBuy or mortgage discounts, or for us, Real Estate Search 2.0 all the way through, that's kind of what's going on. So that's the race going on right now. And the reason why is there's a lot of money at stake, not only with the real estate transaction, but the mortgage and insurance. And what Gary reminded us when we were in that meeting with him is that there's actually a lot more money in the mortgage and the insurance and a lot less in the real estate. So some of these companies are actually willing to give up the money from the actual real estate transaction to get the other pieces of the pie. So just food for thought. So that's kind of what the race is, who's in it, and why they're in it. And fortunately, we're leading this race. So in the good news department, feel kind of a peace of mind on that. Now, let's dive into Redfin specific. And I see a couple chats, so I'm going to dive in and look at them. Oh, yep, some of you commented in the open door. And yes, I will do a snapshot of that whiteboard, of the whiteboard behind me so that you can see it specifically after this. Now, I'm going to screen share. I'm going to show you a couple things. And I love these questions coming in, so bring them in. Now, if I screen share, let me just screen share the right thing. Right now, can you guys see my email? Can I get a thumbs up from anyone? Are you guys able to see my email? Anyone? Should show Gmail up. Just want to verify that I'm sharing this properly. Sometimes I can't tell if I'm sharing the right thing.
We can see it.
Okay, cool. So this is an advertisement from Redfin that went to pretty much every realtor in the MLS that they were hiring. So I went and applied, see if they wanted me. I did not get a job, although I was very interested in learning about what the heck is going on, right? So this email, Ryan Yarborough was nice enough to share with me, and it's their hiring event, and they were looking for real estate agents and support staff. So I went in and kind of blindly interviewed, and basically they pay $15 an hour and you open doors. You don't do any needs analysis. You've never met the consumer before. You meet them at a property. You just key a door, show them the property. And when you're not actually showing property, you're working as basically an ISA and responding to the leads coming in or the queries coming in. So it's kind of like a call center feel. And you're an employee. you're no longer a realtor, and you have to sign quite a bit of non-disclosures, and you're also not able to practice real estate while you're an employee of the actual brokerage. So you are a member of Redfin brokerage. So questions on that, anyone? So you're an actual employee, get that? Okay, looks like no questions so far. So with that being said, the next part is, okay, well, what is Redfin up to? Like, what are they making an impact? So this is a screenshot that I pulled today. And on the far left-hand side is our office, the Keller Williams Clearwater office, and then the local Keller Williams around us, just so you could get proximity to understand how much they're selling. And so this is just this year, and this is Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough County. So Redfin has not been here long, and they have already sold from November to October 121 million in volume. They have 71 employees underneath them. They did 376.5 units. Of that, 205 were listings and 171.5 were buy side. When I look at their agents, the agents I pulled really did not do much volume, with the exception of a handful of them prior to moving their license to Redfin. They came from all sorts of brokerages. They didn't seem to have any individualized brokerage that they focused. So I think it was just people that actually just responded to this type of ad. And again, they're employees, they're not realtors. So they're licensed, but they are acting as employers. So they're not paid commission, just $15 to $17 an hour. So they have like a graduated scale where you can make a little bit more money. So the reason I'm bringing this up is, if you look at Redfin, that is a very short period of time to be here. And that is a lot of production to do in a very short period of time. So this is something that you should be aware of. And I'll definitely provide this for you, but you can see their days on market is only 33 days. You can see their average price point. And then I added Open Door and OfferPad, even though they're not the same model, but just to give you some proximity of the impact they're having on our market share. So the truth is, if we look at just iBuy, and I know this is different from Redfin, but the way they come into a market is nearly the same. If we go to this map here, which I'm going to share to all of you, this is a really cool map, and I would even have this where I bring this up on a blog, or if you're doing a video, or if you're doing a communication to your database, or if you're on a listing appointment even, to kind of see and show the impact of iBuy. Redfin and iBuy, when they come into a market, they do it nearly the same. So their value proposition might be different. One is ease and the other is saving commission. But if you look, if we go down into our area in Florida, this is 2016. This is the actual market impact, or the actual transactions they had in our market. And at the time in 2016, only OfferPad was in our market. If we progress to 2017, you can see their actual bandwidth or volume that they did really kind of went up significantly. And then we go to 2018, and you can see not only has OfferPad really kind of hit our market pretty heavily, but we have a little bit of the blue, which would be Open Door, coming into our market now. So again, going back to this year's numbers, in Redfin, not Open Door, OfferPad, Redfin did 121 million. You can see that Open Door and OfferPad have very similar impacts. And again, if we go back to this report that I put together for you guys, you can see they're kind of trending together. Now, if we go to 2018 to 2019, you'll see that it continues to grow. So if we look at Phoenix as an example of a city that had Open Door and OfferPad, or Redfin or Zillow come in, because they all do very similar things, you can see that there is a market impact. It's not a few sales, it's enough sales to be disruptive to what we're doing. So think about that. They are being disruptive, they are having sales, they are having market impact. So if you continue to do exactly what you're doing and you don't adjust or educate ahead of this, how could this affect your business? It could, couldn't it? In fact, if you look at Redfin specifically, their value proposition is they're cheap. So let's go to Redfin. Here's redfin.com. If you go to their main page, what are they saying their commission is? Less than yours, significantly less than yours. So I want you guys to be aware of this and get ahead of this, because this will affect you if you just ignore it. This is nothing to be ignoring, especially with this kind of volume that they're already doing.
So, Jessica, that's a listing fee. That's not necessarily commission that the seller's going to pay, correct?
Correct. And they also work on the buy side. So if you go to Redfin, depending on where you're looking, you can also buy with Redfin. And it's so ironic because Redfin just keeps making some of these pivots that a lot of people don't know what the heck they're doing. Well, if you read some of the articles, here's an article I just pulled for you guys to read, and I'll send this in I'll have Michelle email all of you that were on this call all these links so you can read them later. But check this out, how if you look at the headlines, Redfin is trying to eliminate the buyer agent, and they feel like they could give that commission back to the consumer. So there's all kinds of weird little pivots that Redfin is trying to make in order to grab market share, because they don't have enough agents and they don't have enough bandwidth nationally. So they're really kind of doing anything they can to gain market share. And again, their end game is not to have agents, but to have employees that are about $15 an hour, and really kind of transition the business really into that kind of an experience. So the entrepreneur would not live in that model. So I see a few questions or a few statements I want to share. So Jennifer Smith recently got a listing from a seller who had their home listed with Redfin. Seller said they didn't do anything for them, didn't communicate, negotiate with buyers, or anything on their behalf. And that's exactly it. It's, back in the early 90s, we had a model similar to this pop up where it was kind of like MLS Disboing, where you could get it on the MLS, but you had to do everything else for your own. And that became real popular for a while, and then it died down. This is really nothing more than that. They get absolutely no service at all. But yet, how many people would do this? Well, enough, because you can see the results on their market share. So it's really a non-service oriented approach that's cheap. That's really it. Now, how do you combat against that? Service and relationship. So the reality is we could pull Redfin listings, and there's a ton of them not selling. It's because they're not getting advice on pricing. They're not getting that service that you would provide. If you were to list my house, you're going to give me advice. You're going to coach me. You're going to tell me what I need to be doing to get my house sold. And it's going to start with a needs analysis. Their relationship starts with nothing. So, don't be intimidated by this, but just be aware, because if you have a listing and you're getting one of these employees calling you, if you can't make their listing time or their showing time, you're out. They'll go to the next person, and you may have the same person call and try to schedule at a different time. So it's almost like they have jump ball with all the leads. You call, you work as an ISA all day till you can actually get a showing, and then you go show a property, or they schedule a showing for you. So depending on the list side, buy side, it's really a lack of service, lack of experience. And then Mike Conroy added, Redfin high average prices, higher price sellers going for them, saving more. Exactly, they think they can get a bigger discount. So know that most of the Redfin listings, if they don't price them right, aren't going to sell. Well, they're relying on the seller to dictate what the price is. And you guys know they're probably a little high or probably a little wrong. Very few sellers estimate low on price. So again, don't get intimidated by this, but know that that's a great opportunity to relist that property once it doesn't sell the first time. So keep that in mind. Again, I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm just trying to educate you how to, respond to all this, be it buyer or seller side. Okay, other things I wanted to share with you. So again, they're kind of like, they change their mind and they change their persona a lot. They're hiring employees that are basically showing assistants, and then they taunt articles that they think that the buyer agent's totally unnecessary during the transaction. The point is they think realtors are unnecessary during the transaction, and that's what we should be kind of putting up our dukes and fighting against. And at the same time, all these models are having an impact, so you'd be a fool not to pay attention and get ahead of it. When it comes to, let me stop the share here so you can see the screen. When it comes to what you need to do, it comes back to relationship and service. So, you know, when you think about working with a buyer, let's just talk buyer for a second. Start with the needs analysis. Do a thorough needs analysis. Don't skip things, and don't just assume you guys are on the same page with anyone that you're working with. Some of you have gotten a little bit lackadaisical and are sliding through the consultation of both the buyer or the seller. It really comes down to service, and at the end of the day, both buyers and sellers want you to help them make a great decision and are looking for your advice and counsel and direction, and also resources in solving problems along the way. So when you think of your database and the relationships you have, are you preemptively communicating to your database today about service and what you can do for them? Because if you aren't, now is the time to start. You really want to get your arms around your database, and one of the best things you could do is call everybody that you're willing to talk to between now and the end of the year. And if you're not a caller, let's just say you're one of those people that never call people in your database, but you text or you message or you email back and forth. Do whatever you're willing to do, but communicate with as many people in your database this before the end of the year. And I want you to ask this one simple question. Do you have any real estate plans in 2020? Be it investing, upgrading, remodeling, refinancing? Do you have any intention of doing anything around that in 2020? And could you see yourself selling your home in the next 3 years? So those two questions, I would challenge you to get your arms around your database and communicate with everyone you're willing to, because let's be honest, that's your real database, and ask them those two questions. Do you have any intentions about real estate in 2020? And list those things like investing, remodeling, you know, upgrading, selling, you know, whatever it is, refinancing. And you want to trigger those thoughts, because remember, you're going to be the whole deal now. You're able to give them all these options besides just the real estate transaction now. With Keller offers, you can do the instant offer. Keller mortgage, you can save them all their closing costs and give them $1,000 credit. You've got all these other tools in your toolbox, and so you have to start using them. Now, when you're interacting with them, again, I don't care how you do it, as long as you do it in whatever form of communication that matches the relationship. I want you to also go in and capture whatever it is that you don't have in your current database. So if I was you, and I would just do this 10 times a day, because that's all you need to do. And by doing this, you're going to feel really good about yourself, and you're going to feel like you've got a handle on your business. And if you look at how simple it is, if we just bring up command, and this is Mark's command, all you need to do is go into your database and actually just go share, you know, by name. You can start with the letter A if you wanted, and actually just call everybody that's in here. And again, ask them those two questions. Put your notes right in here under notes. Type in whatever notes you need to remember. And then while you have them, you're going to want to make sure you have their phone number and email, because you'll be able to start texting them from this command, which is awesome. And it'll keep track of everything in the program and on your phone as if you were texting back and forth. So you'll be able to see the whole thread. But make sure you have the right address, and then ask them, what neighborhoods in America would they like to have on their radar? Not just their own neighborhood, but what other places would they like? So maybe they're dreaming a little and they wish they had a condo in Naples once the kids get out of college. Or maybe they actually do want to know what downsizing would look like in a neighborhood that they have interest in. Or maybe they have a rental property in another part of the state or country. Or perhaps their family members are getting older and they want to kind of track and trail what their parents' house might be doing in another city or state. What's cool is you can just simply add a neighborhood and be able to put those neighborhoods in for them, and go into Smart Plans and just simply choose the monthly neighborhood nurture. Now, if it's a lead, I do bi-weekly, but if it's just a person in your database that does not necessarily need to buy or sell a house in the near future, just put them on the monthly. And what will automatically happen is, for the time being, they'll get an email only, and that email will be a landing page that is a unique website for them. And it's going to have all those neighborhoods that they have interest in and that they identified are the neighborhoods of their targeted choice. And from there, they'll also be able to get the statistics, which is like Zestimates on steroids of real data of what's happening in that micro market. Now, the reality is this, is by doing that, that's what we say by putting a moat around your people. Because the truth is this, eventually when the consumer app comes out, the mortgage, the instant offers, and all that will come through that. And more people are going to be apt to be clicking on your mobile app or respond to a notification on a mobile app than they are to read an email. We just know that's more effective communication of the future. So you'll be able to kind of track everything everyone's doing through your remote control of life, your phone, right? As well as online with through computer with command. And what you're doing is you're just setting things up so that when someone has any of these needs, okay, real estate 2.0 needs, you are the solution. So to go back to my example I used earlier, let's just say I have bought a house with Marianne. And Marianne, you and I know that the dishwasher was kind of on the fritz from the inspection, and that I didn't have a lot of life left in my roof. And when we were looking at the properties, I had mentioned I wanted to redo the floors. Through after the sale, the post-close home services, I would be able to shop for the best water heater deal with the best guy to do it through Marianne. She would be able to trigger and say, hey, Jess, the roof is not looking good, and this spring, would you like me to get you bids on getting that done? Now, I don't want you to think that you're becoming Angie's List and having to do all this extra work, but the point is this, I can get what I want through you. All things real estate 2.0, and that's where you guys are headed. So when I say do these things, get your arms around them, because you guys have more discounts and more services to add than Redfin or any of these other disruptors. They only have one part. You have the whole package. So your job is to get back into relationship with your people and connect these dots, which will be automatic as soon as the consumer app is out. So from now until the end of the year, your race should be with you and the relationships in your database. Get your arms around these folks, and it's really simple to do. It feels really good to do it. You can say, did a great job of work today. I connected with 10 people that were in my database. And for those of you that are overachievers and bold, make it 20, because that's how you get your numbers. And really build that big safety security blanket you need around your business, so none of these little disruptors up here can sneak in and take any more market share. Now, you guys have this, so use it. Don't squander this, because this is a race, and yet there's many other traditional brokerages that don't even have websites yet. So right now, it's estimated that 73% of agents that are with traditional brokerages really have nowhere to go once this race is in full bore. They're with the companies that don't even have websites or don't have any technology, or it's maybe a discount company or limited service company that really doesn't offer anything. So right now, about 73% of realtors are in a bad spot. You guys are in a good one. So be taking advantage, because this is the real deal. No time to squander with this race, and yet really getting your relationships going is the best way to do that. So let me hear from you guys. What kind of questions do you guys have? Anyone have any burning question? Now, many of you might be just worried about having to overcome objections there on commission, especially if you're competing with Redfin, or pricing, because there's plenty of agents that will just say whatever the consumer wants to hear. So know that Thursday, this Thursday the 7th, my team meeting is all about tactics on overcoming objections on your commission and price, because that's with Redfin, that's what you're going to get. Because remember, Redfin, what do they say they charge? 1.5%. Okay, we have a question. When is the KW iBuyer program supposed to be available to us? It is. There's a big group of agents in our office that are already certified and are able to use the actual program as of November 11th. So we will post a link so that you can register to get that training. It's not a ton of training, but you need to know all the little logistics of how the process goes. So Jennifer, we'll make sure you get that along with anyone else. I know several people have told me about the class that they went through, and they're legitimately certified to start using this product. And I know we've sent emails, but you probably missed one. So we will definitely send you that link so that you can register. And there's plenty of online classes. They're just going to keep offering them because, of course, our market is one of the big targets. Will the team meeting be on a Zoom? For you, Annabelle, I'll Zoom it, baby. I'll Zoom it, but it's going to probably be not as effective because I'm not going to be looking necessarily at it, but we'll Zoom it for you. Okay, and if any of you did sign up for the training and you didn't see a link come back, they did have a little bit of a snafu. I'll give you the email address for KW Offers so that you can circle back and say, hey, I didn't see my class. They're offering them constantly. And they're offering them with webinar Zoom type settings, and then we're going to ask them if they can also bring some local ones in where it's face-to-face for those of you that learn better that style. Can we talk to those listed with Redfin? No, they're listed. So just be like the properties listed with anybody. And then Carmine, there is a training on November 6th. I'm not sure what you're referencing. You have to be registered with Keller Offers in order to get into the class. You can't share the link. So we'll make sure that you're individually registered, and I'll make sure Michelle is equipped with that information for the of you that are going to call front desk for that. Here's the thing. Don't sweat this. I've been in this industry for so long. We have all these different disruptors come along. It's just that it seems like we're under attack right now because the world's changing to real estate 2.0. Sad truth, plenty agents won't evolve. They're just not going to evolve. They're just going to keep doing what they're doing and hoping for the best. And as things keep going, there's going to be more and more pressure on our commissions. So really being able to show your value. And the reality is, with the discounts alone, Mark and I used Keller Mortgage on the house sale, the sale of Corsair. We just bought a new house. Wow, awesome experience. And I've bought, I don't know, 10, 12 houses. Mark the same. Mark was a lender. We had several of our friends in the industry also, give us their best bet. And the rate was the same across the board, and yet we saved over $8,000. I mean, you start thinking about that. So, if someone's giving you a hassle about your commission, you have so much more in your toolbox if you guys are actually using it properly and packaging your services the way that the consumer now desires. The consumer wants it this way, so we've got to do it this way. It's the new way. And yet, most of you need a little bit more training so you feel comfortable talking about the iBuy or the Keller Mortgage. Now, I'll tell you, there's a couple agents in our office that are doing a ton with the Keller Mortgage. You can ask Lou Tutko. He's already got 6 closings on the books. You can ask my husband, Mark Wimmer. He's done a couple of Margaret Jackson, Norma Copley. You can ask them what they think. What I will tell you, just with the Keller Mortgage, not to get completely off track, is you get the ability to change your lender if you don't like them. You get to choose your lender and stick with the same person once you find someone you just love and adore. And you guys know how that is with title or mortgage or anyone you're working with. You all have your own preferences. But the other thing I like is when you're in the transaction as the buyer, I got like updates on everything as it was happening, which I thought was phenomenal, which is usually the biggest complaint we all have, is it not? And we were clear to close way before closing. I got an extra $1,000 of closing costs, and it was really not a smoke and mirrors kind of thing. There was no money built into the deal in any way. So it's legit. So you can feel confident in recommending it, not feel like you're going to have a bad experience or worried about the experience you have. Yet what I'll say though is if you're worried, because let's just be honest, have you ever had a real estate transaction where you weren't quite sure if the lender had it? They were maybe just telling you what you wanted to hear and you were nervous. Well, I love it. They have an SOS button you can click and you get escalated immediately to a manager, and a manager calls you and you have a human to talk to. And when you're doing the deal, you have a cell phone number of your loan originator. So I had Rob. Rob was our guy. I had them on cell, speed dial, text, whatever I needed. If I called them on the weekend, they usually took my call. So it was a great experience. So I want to assure you that although this is a new package next to my head here, Real Estate 2.0, as you get more and more comfortable using and articulating the different parts of your toolbox, basically, I wouldn't be nervous about doing it. In the past, I could see why you may have been as we've been rolling things out, but they've really got this nailed down now with especially the mortgage. iBuy, TBD. I mean, we're just getting started, you guys. Now, in Texas, they've had the iBuy live in Texas for 1 month, for the month of October. I just got back from Texas, so I came back with all these notes here. I'll share this with you real quick. So, first of all, the iBuy contact. So Jen, this is for you, or anybody that thought they signed up for the iBuy and missed an email or didn't see, whatever. His name is Mitch. It's Mitch at kellercap.com. So MITCH at kellercap, like cap, CAP.com. You can email him, and we'll also get that link back out to anyone that may have missed that opportunity. So in the month of October, they had 104 in the state of Texas, where they were first beta testing it before they're rolling it out here. They had in 1 month 147 iBuy opportunities brought, meaning that you, the agent, brought someone to Keller Offers, or they went on a website or whatever. 147 people basically filled out all their information about their home to get an instant offer. Of that, 28 of the 147 were denied because they were a property that doesn't meet the criteria, meaning that like it was like a mobile home or unconventional type of property that was unable to be financed. 36 of the 147 actually went with the iBuy offer. They took it. And 50% of all of them listed with the agent in a traditional deal. So think of this all as like a lead generation tool. Think of Keller Offers as a lead generation tool. And yet it comes back down to your relationships. So here's my challenge to you guys. I'll take any questions you have to make sure that everyone had all their questions answered, but it really comes back down to you just connecting with about 10 people a day, putting them on a neighborhood nurture, asking them what their plans are for 2020, if they're going to do anything that you need to know about so you can help them in all of these ways. And it's about you saying something to the effect of like, so would you consider selling your home anytime between now and 3 years from now? And the reason why you ask that versus just this next year is most people will say yes. They'll be like, well, potentially, or well, once the kid's out of school, or blah, blah, or whatever the situation is. So if you go ahead and ask that question, it's obscure enough that most people are a yes. And it unpacks the conversation of what's the situation so that you can really have great notes. Because here's the point, no lead is a bad lead. However, if you're not having these conversations, you don't even know that you have a lead, even if it's a lead 18 months out. And through command, you're going to be so much better at follow-up and tracking anything than you are now with Post-it notes and Excel spreadsheets and everything else you're using. So double dog dare you, between now and the end of the year, how many conversations are you willing to have? Because that's going to dictate how much of this you've got lined up. And then make sure you're plugging in so that you know enough to be dangerous when it comes to Keller Mortgage and Keller Offers, so that you can run with that when you have that opportunity. Now, if you get an opportunity before you're ready, reach out to the front desk and we'll connect you with someone that's already using Keller Offers or Keller Mortgage or what have you with confidence, so that you don't feel lost in any way. Because this is a lot. This is a lot of new stuff, you guys. But we're going to fight these disruptors up here and we're going to win. So challenge to you all, go for it. 10 conversations a day. You're going to feel like $1 million for doing it. Start with the people you will talk to. And don't waste time. Don't squander this, because again, this is a race. And whoever does it wins. Whoever doesn't do it, they're probably not going to stay in the real estate business. So I know that's not quite the pep talk you were looking for. Do you have any other questions from any of you? Okay, well, I will make sure this recording gets out to you guys today in an email with some of the links like the iBuy map and the screenshots, and I'll take a picture of this as well. And I'm here for you guys. So don't be overwhelmed. This is a lot for any one of us. And yet the more we communicate and share about our experiences or what we're running into, the better we can be. And I love hearing from you guys if you're running into anything unique, because you educate me, because I'm not in the field anymore. So keep it coming. And again, we're here for you. So Take care. Have a good rest of your day. And thank you for being part of my day.